Hello, cheers, and welcome to the Scrum of the Earth podcast, the weekly show for news, reviews, great interviews, and so much more, all about the world of rugby. My name is David Lawrence. I'm an American rugby fan who follows the game wherever I can find it all over the globe. If you'd like to get in touch, well, I'm easy enough to find on all your socials, and you can always just drop an email to the Scrum of the Earth at gmail.com. Well, as you've no doubt deduced, this is not your usual weekly episode, but is in fact yet another bonus episode. This time I'm thrilled to announce a special new guest long talked about. He's the starting tight head for Hawke's Bay, a championship winning free jack. It's the one, the only Joel Hintz. Joel, sorry for all the hiccups leading into this. Welcome to the show. How the heck are you?
I'm very good, thank you. What a hell of an intro.
Well, I've got more for you too. Um, Joel, it's really
I'm
great of
very
you to
good.
join me. The time difference between here and New Zealand is always so problematic. So thanks for taking some time on a Monday morning. Um, Joel, you won the MLR championship, defeating San Diego in Chicago. I was there. I have a great picture of you and me afterwards. Can you just take a moment, like sort of cast your mind back to that day? What was it like? Did you have any idea when you first joined the Free Jacks that you might end up winning the entire competition?
Well, when I first had the opportunity to head over to the States with a good friend of mine, Keanu Symes, who was also playing for the Free Jacks,
Right.
we we went over for the experience and to play a bit of footy, and we joked around about how cool it would be if we did win the whole thing. So um, when Mike Rogers before the final spoke about who you were going to go and see, to visualize when we win that final, who you're going to run over and say g'day to. I visualized going over and seeing my cousin Bubba and Buzzy. So when that happened, when we won, was a pretty cool moment.
Well, it was an amazing moment to be there. All the fans are still buzzing about it, and then another one right in a row. I do wonder, like, what do you miss about life as a free jack? Like, it seemed like you fit right in. You were just obviously a fan favorite. Was it an easy transition for you to hop over to the MLR?
Absolutely. All the fans, the American people, and everyone involved within the rugby community in Boston was so welcoming, so hospitable, and yeah, coming into a team that was so Kiwi strong,
Mm.
just felt like we're pretty much at home anyway. But the American community were nothing but great to us. My fiance, she came over. She worked at Crescent Farms with the Davidowitz. So no, it was really
Wow,
cool, really
I
cool
didn't know
experience.
that. That's super cool.
Yeah, yeah. Catch the train there every second day, 2.5 hours there and back. We loved it.
April feels like it's close, but no matter where you are, it is not.
No, that was
Then again,
good.
they made the drive from there to Chicago for that final, so I guess none of us can really complain.
Yeah, and that final was pretty cool. You couldn't have asked for a better day in terms of weather and
I know.
a Kiwi fella like me seeing Shaq up there on the DJ decks. It was pretty surreal.
I've been saying we should pick him up as a little, to take a flyer on him, just to see if we can throw him in at number 8 and see what happens.
Imagine that. The guy's a freak.
So, who are some of the players you missed now most from that championship run? You just mentioned Cam. There's obviously some, joining you now in Hawke's Bay, including Leroux Milan. Do you think
Yeah.
that there's just a really robust connection now between these two competitions?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I don't know if MLR did it on purpose, but it seems like that's why the comp is the way it's scheduled. It's to fit in that NPC, and
Yeah.
it's for Kiwi players in particular. Um, they're very grateful that we can now, like, if you're not quite at super level, it still gives you the ability to play rugby full time, which is, growing up. That's every Kiwi kid's dream, to get paid to play the sport, our national sport. So now we can, have the ability to do that full time. It not only works wonders for your rugby, but also, the lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel like a couple of years ago, it was kind of a one-way street. It seemed like there was a lot of Kiwis coming here and there off season, and then they would just go back home. Now it feels like a lot of the MLR players are going over there as well. Reese McDonald's already tearing it up for Mike Rogers' new team.
Yes,
Almost
for us.
snuck one past you this weekend. So,
Yeah.
but do you think that road is more two ways now than it used to be?
100% because of the timings and how it works. It now allows the Kiwis to draw top players from the MLR over, which is also good for those guys. Like last year, a lot of the Canadian boys come over and played for Mike. It allows them to get more time in professional rugby, and it's only going to help their national teams.
So you actually also played a little bit for the Sharks down in Durban last season in the URC. Like, how do these, if you're looking at the URC, the MLR, and the NPC, how do they differ for you? What are the biggest differences between those competitions?
Yeah, I was really fortunate to get the call from John Plumtree to come over and fill in for Vincent Koch, who got injured in the World Cup. I was decided to stay home this year and not head back to the States just with work commitments. I've now purchased the business, but that time frame to cover for the injury worked out perfectly
Oh,
before
nice.
things really ramped up. So, yeah, myself and my fiance. Well, she was my fiance when we got there because I proposed to her over there. But yeah, no, it was really cool. The setup there is pretty um, impressive in terms of the academy. All the boys, so all the young guys coming through, they stay on site. They live at the stadium. They eat,
Oh, wow.
breathe, shit rugby, basically.
I didn't know that.
Um, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's basically like a boarding hostel, but for rugby.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't work. They just train those boys.
That sounds pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's cool. It's really cool. And like at the stadium, they even had like a kindergarten. So that the older players would bring their kids there, and there's a water slide and everything. And at that
Wow.
game, even fans, you could drop your kids off at the kids zone and go and watch the game without the kids annoying you, and they just park up and play in the pool and get. Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty crazy over
damn.
there.
Oh, I got to
Yeah.
get on the phone with Mags and see if I can get that something like that in Quincy. That would be really nice.
It would be, especially in the summer. Wow, I don't know about winter, but maybe
Well, I
hot.
do. I do love. I even posted a picture like your footwear at the beginning of a Free Jack season is massive snow boots, and at the end it's flip flops all the way.
Yeah, yeah. Chalk and cheese, the weather in Quincy. Yeah.
I am curious. Like, is there something you miss about just being in the States? Like, so of these three places, where I mean, you've obviously been around, but like in these three places, if you're looking at South Africa, Massachusetts or New England, and then where you are now, are you based in Napier? I think it is on the North Island there.
Yeah, yeah, pretty
So,
much. Yeah.
is there like a food or maybe even a beer from each of those places that you're like, I just wish I could get that where I am now?
Well, to be honest, the steak in South Africa, the
I've
braai,
heard.
you can't beat. You can't beat the meat over there. Amazing. Um, but New England, to be honest, the one thing I'm really missing is down the road from us in Dorchester was this Vietnamese banh mi place. Wow, that's where.
Oh,
Yeah, we just
really?
all the time. We'd have it for even the Free Jacks sorted it out, so we'd get those banh mi sandwiches after trainings on Thursday.
Really? No,
Yeah.
no banh mi on the North Island.
Uh, there is, but it's not quite as good
Oh,
as the Quince. Oh, sorry, the Dorchester banh mi.
wow. Oh, that's really good to know. Um,
Yeah.
I am curious about with the MLR. Do you still follow it? Is it even possible where you are? Like, were you watching when the Free Jacks won that back-to-back championship this year?
Yeah. I was watching the final. I was like actually at work. Mrs. probably would have given me a slap if she knew I was actually watching that on my computer, not working. But but yeah, no, I was watching. I think with you just got to have good internet connection, and I suppose that's probably, but that's for everywhere. And
Mm.
looking at Malara, I think that's probably one of the challenges in terms of growing the game is the networking. The internet's probably good enough over in the States, but here in New Zealand it can be a bit patchy. So sometimes a
Oh,
bit.
interesting.
The final was good. Yeah, the final played good for me.
Did it play out the way you expected? Did you go into that one thinking, yeah, we got this?
Well, the season was a little bit rocky,
Yeah.
up and down, but the Free Jacks know how to win when it matters. So that's all that counts. I had faith in the boys.
Um, I really want to talk about the NPC. I'm a huge fan of this competition. I'm excited to finally be able to chat with somebody who's, currently playing in it. Your Hawke's Bay team made it all the way to the final last year, ended up falling just short. From where I sit, your Magpies look even more dangerous this year. Do you agree with that? And like at the team level, what are your expectations from how you're going to get results this year?
So last year we to be honest we were a little bit rocky. We actually had a point where we lost three in a row, and if we didn't start winning, we were going to be out for the count.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a soul searching session. We just sat down and spoke about where we're at in the season, where we need to be, and where we think we should be. And then we really started to push on. We won the Ranfurly Shield, and then when all the shenanigans happened after that and breaking that, the whole of the country and part of the world was against us, and it
Hmm.
felt like it was us against the world, and we needed to pull through and win for our fans. Otherwise, we didn't want to be remembered as a whole bunch of blowouts. So um, really, that gave us a real good kick up the arse that we needed.
Interesting.
Um, and we went on to beat Bay of Plenty at home, which I can't remember doing that in any time I've been there in 6 seasons, and I don't
Hmm.
think any of the other boys could remember. And then we ended up beating Wellington for the second time, who were unbeaten for the season, apart from when we took the shield off them, and got to the final, and ended up missing by 2 points. So now coming into the 24 season, we've we've got that confidence because we've still got that core group of players, especially within the forward pack, and
Yep.
that's where it matters. So we've got the confidence now to know that we're good enough. So yeah, I think that just helps coming into the season. We've worked pretty hard in a few games and we've had a bit of luck on our side, but we're rolling on a pretty good high at the moment. And this weekend we're playing Tasman, who are also in the same boat. That they're unbeaten and they're
Yeah,
coming for.
yeah, that's gonna be a huge clash. I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Ranfurly Shield, it's such an amazing wrinkle. It's one of the things I love about the NPC. I feel like I don't know. It's funny because I think, oh, all competitions should do that, and I'm like, no, you know what? It's special. Let's keep it in the NPC. Just have them do it. And you already mentioned there was some shenanigans at the end of the year. At the time, from where I'm sitting, like the NPC sort of issued a statement that was like, "We're going to launch an official investigation into what happened," and then they just never mentioned it again.
yeah, they did.
Are you able to explain anything?
Yeah, so they did launch an investigation, but the story that we'd been telling everyone, which was in the media, that it genuinely did break when it was dropped. That was the summary of the investigation. So
Yeah.
yeah, nothing
And
too much.
it looks great now. They did a great job restoring it. It's beautiful, it's shiny.
Yeah, well, the worst part was that it was it just when it broke, it just had snapped down the screw line when they because they had restored it and put a new back on it. So yeah, it
Right.
was pretty unfortunate that the first time we took it out with the now that it was new, it broke. So it's like, oh yeah.
Well, as a holder of the shield, it's absurd for me to think I could tell you anything you don't know about it. But I was talking to an historian once who explained the rugby posts on the Ranfurly Shield didn't used to be there. It was originally meant to be a cricket trophy, and the
Oh
posts were added later. Kind of
wow,
cool.
yeah, it is cool. It's a cool old trophy. Like yeah, it's really special. And what was disappointing was people were making remarks around that we didn't respect and stuff because we've held it longer than anyone else in the professional era. We 100% respect that thing. That thing makes us
Yeah,
grow up the leg every time we play. You know, we love that thing. We cherish it 100%, and we were as gutted as everyone else. Probably more so, that it broke.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, it's been now 5 defenses in a row since you won it off Wellington, like you mentioned. And the NPC really can stuff these games in. You've played 3 matches in the last 2 weeks. What's the player's perspective about the what they call the storm week? Like I, as a fan who wants to watch as much rugby as possible, it's great. I'm like, what? Wednesday morning, there's a game in the bag I can watch. It's fantastic, but I'm not out there getting exhausted and testing the depth of my squad. What do the players think about storm week?
Storm week, it's something that we always know is going to happen. So yeah, it's 3 games in 8 days. Normally we try and rotate the squad so everyone's not getting too thrashed. For good or bad, I've had to play all three, but it's
I
cool.
noticed.
I love playing footy, but yeah, no, body's starting to play a little bit of catch up at the moment. That's all right. Got to just do my recovery procedures. But no, it's something that I think last year Wellington were the first team to win all 3 of the Storm Week, and it's something
Oh,
we took this year. So
I didn't even
um,
notice that.
yeah, because I don't know if they've always done the Storm Week. To be honest, yeah. could be wrong, but I heard that from someone that Wellington were the first team to win all three, so we've done that as well, which is pretty cool.
It's weird how you can forget how good a team was. Like you said, like Wellington were a powerhouse last year, but because it didn't happen at the end, it's kind of like, what? They had a good year? It's strange how our memories
Yeah,
work that way.
they had a phenomenal year the year before when we were riding on a really good high. We were up there with favourites to win. Then Wellington took the shield off us and beat us in the semis. Next year, yeah, they had an unreal season because they went on to win the whole competition and have the shield, which you really can't get any better, really. And to win it
Yeah.
off us, because that's the biggest rivalry is the Hawke's Bay Wellington rivalry. And then the following year we got the revenge, so we went down there, took the shield off them, and then went and played them in the semis and beat them again. So yeah, no, it's pretty special, those Wellington Hawke's Bay
I
games.
usually do my research better than this, but I haven't looked. Are Wellington coming to Hawke's Bay this year? Do you get to defend it against them, or do they have a shot to snag it again?
We're heading down to Wellington, I think. Yeah, no, so no shield game for them. I think our shield games are Tasman, Taranaki, and Auckland, I believe.
Yeah, the one in Tasman to September 7th, I think. That's going to be a great game.
Yeah, this Saturday. Yeah, boys are pumped. We know it's going to be a biggie. We're hoping that the McLean Park gets packed out.
Well, it was just this past week that you had that Storm Week fixture on Wednesday. You were in Canterbury. Very short turnaround for both teams. In my little notes I was writing, I have a feeling these squads are going to be pretty heavily rotated, and Canterbury rotated so much that Ryan Crotty got the start at 12. I was thinking,
Yeah.
I remember that guy from the All or Nothing series on Amazon. And that was like in 2015, and I think he was talking about retiring then. But I love the guy. Is it interesting to see these players that you have been watching for so long come out on a day like that?
Oh, 100%. I remember Ryan Crotty. He was the man back in the day. Well, still is. And I remember when I was a young university student out in town and at a bar and looking at him, go, "Well, there's Ryan Crotty," and now
Yeah,
I'm out. You know, gave him
he's
a little noogie in a ruck, saying, "Good run, old boy," and he was cracking up.
he enjoys it. You can tell, and he still knows
Oh,
what he's doing.
he's a lad.
Um, I also noticed that Leroux Milan, we already mentioned him. He got his debut off the bench for Hawke's Bay. I just love him. The resilience. I'm sure you've talked to him about it after that World Cup injury. It's completely bonkers to me. The
Yeah.
first thing I noticed was he came out and made what looked like a great defensive play, and the refs pinged him for it. And even the comms were like, I don't know what they're talking about there.
Yeah, that was tough. Hats off to referees. They do a job that not many people want to do. But
Yeah.
I felt a little bit hard done by on a few of those turnovers. But hey, that's his interpretation of things, and he was pretty consistent with it. So, yeah.
You've got guys like Freedom Vahakolo. He's been great this year. He got the first try in that game. I mean, you automatically just have to love the guy, but or his name. The comms, whenever they mention them, they say really interesting guy, really interesting story, and then they never say any more. What are we supposed to know about Freedom Vahakolo?
Oh, geez, yeah, I probably need to find out a bit more about him. But to be honest, well, yeah, I don't know too much about Freedom, but just from what I've experienced from him, he's genuinely probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Oh,
Like, man, such a nice person, like absolutely awesome, and he's
wow.
such a good player.
Every single time he comes up during a broadcast, the comms are like, "Oh, that Freedom, really interesting story," and then they just never say any more. It's very strange.
Yeah, I'll have to find out for you. Maybe you should get him on.
Oh
He'll
yeah,
be
hook me up, man.
yeah,
Um,
100%. Dude.
that Wednesday game, it was a fantastic match. Canterbury took the lead off a sweet drop goal, but you all answered right back with a spectacular try. Just for me, a lovely treat for a Wednesday morning. Um, to paraphrase Robert Frost, it kind of ended with not a bang but a whimper. You managed to get that pretty close win, 21 to 27. I just really think Hawke's Bay look poised for big things this year. Are you trying to keep down that talk? Is it bad luck to start talking
Um,
about high expectations?
I think we know how good we can be, and we're our own worst enemies at times. But those ugly wins, we're actually happy with them because we know that we can stay. The best thing for us is that we can stay composed and patient when we're down, and we know, like, we have full faith that we're going to get back. Even what we 19-0 down in the first 20 or 30 last
Exactly.
night, but there was no one really too worried. Like, we knew it was going to happen. we talk about weathering the storm. We just weather it, and then we wait for. It's important for us to get good on good. So do one good thing, and then carry on doing good things, and
Mm.
not and not try and piggyback teams with easy penalties. That's our goal. Try to get a good scrum, and then we can kick for the corner, and good on good on good, and then just build that momentum that way.
I got to say, it really comes across as a fan. Like, so I have a soft spot for the Turbos because of more, of course, Mike Rogers. I love him. He's brought a bunch of Free Jacks over too. So, and they've been really struggling. So it's hard to watch. But even
But
the,
they've also been playing some really good footy. Like they were unfortunate not to beat Wellington, and
yeah.
unfortunate to beat us. Really, they're a good team, and I think if they had a full strength team, the likes of Braden Yossi and Brett Cameron, and Reese for the full game, well, that
Mm.
would have been a tough ask from us Magpies boys because they are a formidable force. Definitely, they just need to get a few wins under their belt, and they'll be right.
That's my worry now is like people say winning's a habit and they also say losing's a habit and you just do you believe in that philosophy or do you think that once your team just kind of keeps dropping these close ones you just feel like well we just can't do it?
Yeah, I do believe in that. Like it's tough. Like you said, winning's a habit, losing's a habit, and success breeds success. When you get a knack for winning those close ones, there's a faith there. But when
Mm.
you struggle to win those tight ones, like my club team, sometimes that's that little bit of belief. And if everyone's 1% off, there goes 15%.
That's a great point. I've never heard that. That's a good one. Yeah, it's funny because you even said so. Like they came out, Turbos jumped to a three try. I think it was like you said, 19-0. Reese McDonald is flying it all around. And all I could think was, yeah, but this is Hawke's Bay. They don't care. That there's plenty of time. And sure enough, by the end, it was the same old story.
Yeah, we know we can score tries when we need to, but we just need to do it earlier, put a team away properly. But you know, we knew that the Turbos were going to be targeting this game, especially with us coming out of a storm week, and it's the battle of the bridges, and it's quite personal. It's a lot of the boys playing the Hurricanes super team together, and
Mm.
Rogers, and there's Free Jacks against Free Jacks, and the Manawatu Battle of the Bridges. It's always a big game. We have a trophy up for grabs. We knew they were coming. Yeah, and they really did for that first 30 for sure. And
It was
just
crazy.
very physical game. They have some heavy hitters and some really talented boys. Unfortunately, I threw a hell of an intercept to Taliana Philemone. So, Nella, he's a good mate of mine from back at the Free Jacks, and he read
Yep.
that one.
That was a sweet moment for me.
As soon as I
What
thought it, I was like, oh no, yeah, there's Nella.
what was it? A couple of games ago, the comments said something about, oh, by the way, Fakatava and McClutchy, they've been pairing at the 9 and 10 since they were in like schoolboys, and they talked about this school that they went to together and how they just went on an absolute tear for that school. But of course, I don't I don't know or follow schoolboy rugby. Yeah, how powerful is that 9-10 combination for what the Magpies are doing this year?
As a big fan of rugby yourself, mate, I would suggest you should watch the first 15 competition in New Zealand. That is
Really?
elite. Oh, 100%. That is rugby. So those boys all went to Hastings Boys, which is a local college here in the Hawke's Bay. So there was Falau and Lincoln, as well as Danny Tuala, who's our 12. He played 10 last night. Keanu, Kiraru Symes, and Devin Flanders, probably some more, but they were all in the team that won the national competition.
Really?
Yeah, or no, maybe what was it? Maybe 7 or 8 years ago. But yeah, like you have Lincoln, Denny, and Falau. Those guys don't even need to talk. It's like they've honestly got this, just telepathy. They just know what each other are going to do, even
You
if it
can
might
see
be
it.
the most random thing, a dummy cut chip or whatever, and they just know exactly what each other are going to do. It's crazy because no one else knows what Falau's going to do.
I love that guy. I also thought that was funny. He did that big thing. Was it only last year? He cut off his hair, and it was like a week, and it was back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's the man. Far out. He plays like no one else on the planet. That guy.
He really
Seriously,
does.
the footwork and the randomness of what he's going to do, but he's always on. He just sniff a gap from a mile away.
So I'm curious. Like I said, I'm a massive fan of the NPC. I was wondering if I could just kind of very quickly hit on the other games that were from this round, and sort of get your take on these different teams. If you also, we also started late. If you need to hit the road, that's totally fine too. But I would love to sort of go around the horn with you if you have a few minutes.
Yeah, that's the good thing about being your own boss.
Oh yeah. Once you buy a business, it's your schedule. So one of my favorite matchups, Northland versus Southland, that was on Friday. The comms were going on and on about how, oh, it's a big deal when these teams from the furthest distance apart you can possibly play in New Zealand come together. And I was thinking, yeah, but the Free Jacks have to go to Seattle. So
Yeah.
it's a funny difference in perspective. Does that mean a lot though? If for a Kiwi, is it like, wow, Northland's going all the way to Southland or vice versa?
Well, yeah, I suppose it's every team's got their own little their derbies that they get up for. And to be honest, not everyone knows like the severity of like the occasion for everyone. So like I was talking to Daniel Leonard Brown after the Canterbury game. He didn't realise the rivalry between Hawke's Bay and Wellington. You know, like but
Hmm.
that's the big game. You know, but other people that they just don't realise that. I think like yeah, Auckland, Canterbury, these are like big derbies but people can make a derby out of anything. You know, Manawatu, it's the Battle of the Bridges. Bay of Plenty, it's the Battle of the Bays. Whoever gets to be called the Bay for the year. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
derbies. But you know, Northland and Southland, they're two of the what you know you'd probably consider the smaller provinces.
Mm.
Both very talented teams this year. Like great forward packs and talented backlines. So that they're going to be formidable forces this year.
Northland had a big lead and then ended up kind of coughing it up towards the end. Southland kind of stole it from them 26-31. Is that a problem with Northland this year? Like, what's the scouting report on them?
Oh, I don't think so. I think Southland are just really got a good team this year. You know, they've got forwards who can beat you up at the front, and then backs who can find the gaps once those boys have created them. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. Both we've played both those teams now, and both those teams are yeah, they're, they're strong.
It was a really close one between North Harbor and Counties Monaco. I can't claim to know a heck of a lot about either team, but it was 33-36. Counties Monaco, they seem like they're doing a little better this year. Are there's some sparks, green shoots, as they like to say for them?
Yep. So both those teams are Auckland-based teams, and Monaco, they're always they're big, solid, physical boys. Last year, I think we only just beat them right at the end. Like we clawed back this crazy win and beat them in overtime. And they're another team a bit like Manawa too, who they they are right. They're up there, but sometimes they just let teams just slightly get ahead. But hey, who am I to judge? You know, Hawke's Bay have been in the same position before, so.
This is a weird question that I'm kind of going off script here. One of the things, just as a viewer, that I love about the NPC is like, because there's all these players that are kind of at the super level. Sometimes they're getting called up all the way to the ABs. So you just never know. Like week in, week out, you might be like, oh, Jesus, there's 5 All Blacks in the starting lineup right now. Or you might just be thinking, wow, I recognize this guy from the Highlanders or whatever it is. But from somebody who is in the competition, does that make it sort of harder to keep track of things, or does it make it more interesting for you? Like
I
the
love it.
difference week in and week out.
I love it. I love the opportunity to scrum against All Blacks. Um, yeah, I'm not the best rugby player in the world, but mm, everyone says I'm a fairly decent scrummager, or I like to think I am
Mm.
when I get away with it. So it's cool. So it's cool to yeah test myself up against the best. I love it. I love the opportunity. Yeah, to try and yeah smoke an All Black. Yeah, give you a bit of bragging rights to the grandkids one day who actually want to listen
Yeah,
to it.
it's funny. So I've been on this mission recently. I've been trying to talk to props in particular because as a viewer, the scrum is the thing that the comms absolutely will not explain. Not only do they not explain it, they don't try and they're proud of it. They're like, oh, nobody knows what goes on in there. It's the dark arts and blah, blah, blah. Is that a problem for you with rugby? Like, do you want people to understand the dark arts more? Or are you like, no, 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 keep it as mysterious as possible?
No, I'd like people to understand because Kiwi viewers don't like scrummaging. They hate it.
Oh,
They want the game to be fast. There's so many people. That's why they watch. League is growing in New Zealand, and Australia, because they want fast game, running, tackle. That's it. But what I love about the overseas viewers is, like, the Americans. They appreciate what we're doing. They love.
yeah.
I think you're probably right. A little bit of that is the mystery of what the hell is going on, but it'll also be good to know what's going on when the ref blows the whistle.
Yeah. The like insistence of like, well, we're never gonna know. It's like, but that's your
Yeah.
job. Your whole job is to tell us what we just saw.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it'd be good to get some comms on that. I think, well, yeah, I don't know if Wheelsy would know too much about it, but he's a pretty good commentator when it comes to telling people what's going on, because he knows the game pretty well.
That's true. He doesn't look like he
Still,
spent too much time packing down in a scrum, but maybe I'm
no,
imagining
but
it.
he knows his footy though. Man's got a face for radio.
He does. He's been great. I love Wheelsy.
Oh,
I talked
good
to a
to
friend of
know.
mine who's a lifelong prop and who also coaches and stuff, and he was telling me how, like, when in his early days, his opposite number in training would they'd be practicing, and then after training, his this guy would go and immediately shave. And one day, Greg's like, "Well, why don't you shave before the game?" And he was like, "How much does your face hurt right now?" He was like, "Oh, is that what they're talking about with these dark arts? Is it just the microcosmic little annoyances?"
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, especially at that club level, like, club levels where you get the dirty little tricks. Yeah, my old man talking about from back when he was younger, the stuff they got up to. Yeah, it's you wouldn't be able to get away with that anymore.
Too many cameras.
Too many cameras. Yeah, 100%.
So Taranaki, another team I can't help but love because of a certain man running the show there, Mr. Jason Patras. They beat Otago again at Yarrow Stadium, a close one this time, 22-18. It feels like to me they're sort of rounding in shape. And by the way, Jesse Peretti was back in there. I haven't seen Jesse in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
Another major Free Jacks connection. You must be friends with those guys.
No, absolutely. Both great, great guys, awesome rugby players. Good to see Jesse P back in there. I saw him running a few of those rolling mauls. He was steering the ship there, and Potty, he's running the cutter at the back. He's a talented footballer. Still trying to avoid contact like it's the plague, but that's what I've been doing. He's a 30-year-old with the body of a 50-year-old and the mind of an All Black.
Well, I don't know if you heard Phil from the Jacks Rangers show. He when he interviewed Bodine Waka, and he was saying, "So what can we as fans expect of this Jason Patras guy?" And BW said, "Yeah, he looks 45, but he's not.
No, that's right. He's a wizard, old Jace. He's the man.
He really is. He looks like you might run into him like as he's running a double stroller around the local park or something like that. But then he gets out on the field and kicks your ass."
100%. Well, back in the day, 'cause he grew up with Bowden Barrett, and the story is everyone thought Potty was going to be the All Black great, and I think Bowden
Really?
just scraped past him. Yeah,
Wow. Fine
yeah,
margins.
yeah. Well, just growing up, everyone was like, "No, that Jason Botros, he's the next guy." No one was talking about Bodie.
Huh. Maybe it's just because there's so many Barretts. Maybe Jason just needs 3 to 5 brothers.
That's right. Yeah, he just needs a bit more competition in the backyard, I think.
Yeah, one big one too, who can, take the Scott role. Just be like, "No, no,
Yeah,
no, you don't wanna mess with Scott Patras."
that's right.
For me, I think last week or this round, I should say, Tasman versus Bay of Plenty, that was probably the game of the week, in the NPC. Kickoff was delayed by a power outage, but everyone had a good attitude about it, huddling under the stands because it was absolutely I mean, it was like somebody just turning on 6 fire hoses on you as you were trying to play, but it still ended up being a fun game. I was curious, um, 3 brothers, Atu, Sam, and Mono Moli, have all played for the Mako. Sam and Mono were in the first two, like were the first two off the bench tonight. I think Atu's playing for Western Force in Super Rugby. Do you know those guys? Are they the Barretts of the NPC?
I don't know them personally, but my little cousin, he grew up with them in Blenheim. Yeah, so I've only heard good things about those boys and played against them, and they're beasts. Yeah, they're good footballers.
I mean, you've already kind of said Tasman, they look really good this year. They're loaded with talent. Finlay Christie was starting this weekend. Willie Havili, he's always great. Tava Tava Nawa, I love watching him. Quentin Strange, surely a top 10 all-star in the rugby names competition. He was wearing the captain's badge. Just a powerful squad. How much talk is there in your locker room about, what you're going to face when you see them? I guess it's next week.
We take everything week by week. So up until last night, everything was Manawa two, but after the game, there was no doubt that the switch had to flick, and we're into Tasman mode. They're coming hard. They're going to try and steal their shield off us. So it's up to us to make sure that that third leg grows again, and we go out there on the field and make sure we win it back. Because every time the shield's on the line, we don't defend it. We have to win it.
Oh, I like that. Little subtle mind shift.
Yeah, for sure. It's a final every time we go out there, and the crowd expects us to defend their fortress, just like Quincy.
Well, Scott Matthew, I was talking to him once, and he said a coach once told him the most important game of your life is the next game, and that's always true. And he said that's something he tried to impart to the players at the Free Jacks. Do you remember him talking about that? Is that something you also kind of try to live by?
Yeah, Scotty, he's an awesome coach, and he's similar to other coaches I've had. You enjoy the win when you get it. It's almost one of the things about rugby, though. You can't dwell on that one too long. You get a little grace period where you can celebrate, and then it's fucked on to the next job.
Yep. Well, we New Englanders, we all love Coach Belichick, and Belichick, I was told, lets you have about an hour and a half of celebrating a win. It could be a conference final. It doesn't matter. Back to work.
Yeah, luckily rugby's got a little bit of a different mindset around the world that you can go and have a few beers and enjoy it till at least the next morning. So
Yeah. We also had, you already mentioned this as one of the classic matchups, Canterbury versus Wellington. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We were talking about Canterbury versus Auckland as a big one, but Canterbury versus Wellington seems like a big one for me too. Canterbury got beat up, losing 21-46. Are Wellington right back where they were last year?
I think Wellington are good, and unfortunately for Canterbury, they're also struggling with a lot of injuries. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably a little bit of both. Um, I'd never count Canterbury out. They don't mind a return to the competition late in the piece if they have to. They know how to win big games. But yeah, Wellington are a formidable force again, and we're looking forward to playing them.
Well, we kind of started with your game last Wednesday, and amazingly, because of the storm week, it was again you this time going to Manawatu. We already talked about it, 3 tries in short order for the Turbos before you kind of remembered who you were and just clawed your way back into it. In that final quarter, it was locked at 26, and I was thinking Mike Rogers must be pulling what's left of his hair out right now, like because he's seen this movie so many times before, right?
Yeah, poor old Mikey. I feel for him. I had a quick chat with him after the game, and yeah, he was obviously disappointed because he knew that the game it seemed like they had full control of the game, but yeah, we yeah, full respect and credit to us. We know how to pull the cat out of the bag when we need to.
It's so tough when you've got that lead and then you just kind of see it whittled away. Like, and I'm not planning to go into it, but like, I'm sure you just watched the All Blacks in Ellis Park just this weekend, and 10 points up with 10 minutes or whatever it was left. It makes it so much more painful when that slips away, right?
100%, it's soul destroying.
Ugh.
It's rugby, the lows make the highs better.
Well, it's after this because you have had the storm week. Hawke's Bay are sitting at the very top of that table, 5-0, 25 points. Wellington and Tasman are both undefeated still, but they've only played the 4 games, so they haven't had that chance to catch up. Bay of Plenty are right behind them. Do you think that's by the end of this competition? Do you think those are going to be generally our top four?
Well, you'd think so, but like you just never know with the NBC. All these other games, they're so tight. Like
Yeah,
it's anyone's game. As long as he's got, there's, Northland and that, they could pull out a heap of wins. And you don't know in the NPC. Everyone is that tight. There's not really any favourites, to be honest. Like anyone can beat anyone on the day. Anyone would
interesting.
think, Manawatu might be, down. the lower end of the table, and then they nearly go and beat the top table. So
The surprising one, for me, Auckland played 4, lost 4. That doesn't seem right for the tradition of that club.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But hey, we definitely won't be taking them lightly when we go to play them. That's for sure.
Mm. Did, is it just something that's not clicking? Is it something that they can just turn on later, or is it just you just never know?
I'm not sure. I've never really had anything to do with an Auckland setup or anything. So yeah, I'm probably not one to comment. I haven't been in that environment. It sounds like it's quite a different environment to what the teams I've been involved with. So yeah, I'm not sure, but like I said, I wouldn't count them out.
Uh, Joel, I really appreciate your time. I apologize again for the little snafu at the beginning, and I appreciate the extra time you were able to give us today. This has been fantastic. I've been such a big fan of yours for so long. A couple last things. Here's a random one for you. If you could reach out across the NPC and just pluck a player from a different team and just slot him in to your Magpie setup right now, who do you think might make a difference?
Oh, I love Reese McDonald.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
music to my ears, man. And the whole world is starting to love the Red Rocket, right?
Oh, yeah, he's a freak.
He
Yeah,
looked a
man.
little he looked a little DMAC this weekend. He had a little bit of
100%.
that yeah.
I've been trying to get the Bay to get him, and Mikey Rogers snapped him up.
Yeah, and he's already been at 15 and 10, just immediately was starting for him again. It's impressive, and it's always a good sign for our Free Jacks fans.
I just hope that his injury's not too bad.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh,
I did
wow.
a sprint,
Oh, dang.
so not good.
Um, Joel, that's pretty much all I've got for you. Anything you've got cooking, anything on the stove that you want to tell us about that's coming up for you or for the Hawke's Bay team? What can we look out for from you and your teammates in the rest of this competition this year?
Just, yeah, keep an eye on those home games as Renfrew Shields. Hopefully, we can
So
retain it,
good.
lock it away for the season. And if there's any Kiwis listening and you guys need finance, come you message me. MTF Finance in Napier. All your business and personal loans. That's me now.
Oh, okay. That's excellent. I will, send me that link. I will absolutely put it in the show notes. That's not a problem at
Cool,
all.
man. I
A-
appreciate
And
that.
and
You
by the
just
way, I might need a few bucks.
yeah, cool. Sounds good. I don't know if I can lend overseas, but we'll see what we can do.
Oh, final thing. One of the things that Free Jacks fans noticed about you in the sort of bio when you first signed with Free Jacks was talking about your championship powerlifting. Is powerlifting still a big thing for you? Do you still get
Not at the
involved with
moment, but when I retire, I'll definitely be looking to get back into it. I won the world champs when I was 17 over in South Africa.
Wow.
Beat beat a Russian, which was pretty cool. And then I decided to just give rugby a crack because obviously rugby you get paid for it, and powerlifting you pay to do it. So
I can perceive the difference there. But
I won the
things you
world. I
learn
thought, oh, next
th-
goal, next.
things you learn from powerlifting though, you probably use them in your day-to-day rugby career, is that right?
Oh, 100%. I don't think I'd be able to scrum the way I do if I didn't have that base of strength that I created when I was, from 13 up to now. So,
But is it just the actual strength, or is it your mental approach, your sort of conditioning, your technique? Is it more than just the actual power?
probably a little bit of everything. I think that that discipline that molded at a young age, going to the gym and seeing what, hard work becoming results, it gave me a good foundation for my training in the future. Yeah, for sure. And just being a strong person in the gym, it kind of gave me an edge, 'cause I'm not very big or I'm not very fast and reasonably fit, but it definitely gave me something that I can say I'm the best at this and give
Mm,
me the confidence to go into something knowing I've got a strength which is better than anyone else's. So,
that's fantastic. Joel Hintz, you're incredible. You're one of my favorite players. I wish you all the best this year. I'm going to be watching right at the edge of my seat against Tasman that ran for early shield. It's one of the best things you can watch as a rugby fan. Any defense
100%.
is like this is it.
Yep, that's it. It's a final every week.
I love it. Okay, my friend, I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate your time. Cheers. Talk to you soon and be
Yeah.
well.
Sounds good, mate. I better get back to work. I'll catch you later.